On today's wrestling news, 3 WWE releases.
Let's talk about WWE's massive ring.
Marko Stunt is retiring from wrestling.
And we've got an update on Kenny Omega's return and creative plans.
Are you ready? Are you ready for the news time? My name is Phil Chambers and I'm joined by Gareth Morgan to talk all things wrestling news. And we've not had one of these in a while, but it's WWE release talk time again. And we've got 3 releases from WWE. Now, Fightful Select have a bit of news sort of behind the scenes about these as they go along, so I'll kind of include that as well. But the 3 are, I guess the biggest one is Baron Corbin, who was slightly different in that he's not being released. He's just been told that his deal won't be renewed. Now, the speculation backstage from Fightful Select is that his deal ends sometime around the end of 2024, so he's still got like a month or 2 left, but then he will be not renewed at the end of it. So in theory, like straight after his contract is up, that's when he can start taking bookings again. He won't have any no compete or anything because he's not physically been released. He's obviously had a strange run recently. He signed with WWE back in like 2012, and then he was called up to the main roster in 2016. So he's had a good run in WWE, really. And then kind of had the amazing, sad and happy Corbin stuff, which was absolutely wonderful. And kind of taken back down to NXT for a bit. Had the great tag team with Bron Breakker there. That was a lot of fun. And then he was like in the 2024 draft, he was put onto SmackDown, and then there was kind of the odd pairing where they just kind of pushed him and Apollo Crews together, but then never really did anything with it, and they were just kind of there in the background and appeared a couple of times. So it's, an odd run in the last sort of few years, but it's a surprise, this one. I did not see this one coming in terms of Baron Corbin within WWE. He's kind of been a fixture for ages now, like not like at the top of the card, but like anything they gave him, he kind of knocked out of the park. So it's a little bit of a sad one for Baron Corbin, at least.
Yeah, he's been one of those reliable people. I think reliable in the sense of like, let's not just completely ignore history. Like in the last, like the early days of him being on the main roster, it wasn't quite working. Like for whatever, it just wasn't clicking.
Well, they had all the dog food stuff with Roman Reigns that didn't exactly help him.
Yeah, it didn't really work. All the King stuff. Like he was doing what was asked of him, but it just he wasn't really connecting a lot with the audience, or he was just being. A lot of people classed him as like one of the few genuine heels out there because nobody liked him as a character. Do you know what I mean? Like he did get the big boos and all the rest of it, and there is a place for that obviously in WWE, and he was doing what he could with it. But then over the last couple of years, he's become something of like a cult favorite. Do you know what I mean? It's that respect level thing. It's like the longer that you spend in a place and you keep working, you keep just doing what you can with these things that WWE throw at you, and there are some weird things that have been thrown at him over the years. The respect level grew, and it got to a point now where when he did pop up on TV, I was like, Corbin, my guy, okay, let's see what we got. Let's see what they're making you do this time. Let's see how you do your best with it. And I think this Apollo Crews stuff that he was doing over the last couple of months, it was just there, really, wasn't it? They had a good little dynamic with each other, but it wasn't really going anywhere. And you do start worrying. Do you know what I mean? You're like, where's Corbin's place in this new WWE right now? And it just looks, according to this news anyway, like he doesn't really have a place in it. But he's a talented guy, seems like a smart guy, seems like a nice guy, really. Just a person that will do well wherever he lands. If he wants to stay in the wrestling business, maybe he doesn't. Maybe I know he likes cooking meat, doesn't he? He's a big meat cooking guy. I've seen loads of stuff on Instagram.
Like a barbecue.
Maybe he'll just become a professional barbecuer. I think that's a job. Go and do that, Corbin, if you fancy it. But I do wish him the best because he just seems like a cool dude.
Yeah, absolutely. Sad news, that one. The Fightful Selects reported as well that at least Fightful are already getting asked by indie bookers about when his contract is up to try and get him. So he's definitely going to be getting some indie offers as he comes out of the WWE system. But all the best to Baron Corbin and whatever he does going forward. So the next one is also a surprise because, all of these are actually kind of a surprise. I wouldn't have picked any of them if you were sort of thinking of who they were going to release. But Indy Hartwell is the other one who was still being used on TV. They even taped a match for her on SmackDown last night, but she was released before the match was aired, which is all very strange. Indy Hartwell signed back in 2019, best known for her NXT run and the Index stuff. But then was called up to the main roster in 2023 with Candice LeRae, which she was in a tag team with up until, literally SmackDown last night. So the Fightful Selects backstage thing is that several staff backstage, at least within WWE, and talent as well, really thought that she was kind of coming into her own. And so it's kind of a surprise that she would be released within the WWE system, just as like people think she's like starting to get it and starting to like come into her own. So that's a bit weird. And then I'll just dive into the other one and we can talk about it. Tegan Nox is the other one as well, which is also interesting just because she's very much a Triple H person. Like Triple H was a big fan of Tegan Nox. Her WWE entire run has been marred by injuries at the worst timings that you could possibly imagine. But she's also, like, she's been healthy recently, but just not been used on TV since April 1st. And she's not even been used on dark matches or live events since July. So this one, like, I guess you could maybe kind of see coming a little bit, in that creative obviously didn't have anything for her because she's not been used in so long. But also surprising just in the fact that she is very much a Triple H person. And back in the NXT days, she was very much one of his guys.
I think with both of these, like, 'cause obviously Indy Hartwell was very much involved with the way, and like that was a big push throughout the time that I was doing my NXT ups and downs. They were very much there at the center of all that. So it's a weird one to a degree, because Indy Hartwell, I felt like, had a lot of upside. Like, I felt like she had a lot of potential. Maybe she hadn't really found herself. Like, it was in a strange way. Like, you could look at like a Corbin, where it was that thing where she'd come up to the main roster and it just wasn't quite where there was something there, but she hadn't really found it yet. And like you're saying, a lot of people in the back and like had seen her over the last couple of weeks, couple of months, whatever it is, and started thinking, actually, like, she might be finally cooking into gear a little bit now. But WWE clearly felt that maybe after the amount of time and investment they've spent, they've just don't feel like she's where they want her to be at that point. Do you know what I mean? Like, so they've just gone, okay, maybe we'll release you so you can go out into the world and find yourself a bit more and really prove. They do this sometimes, don't they, where they say go out there and prove how much you want it, really prove how, like, make us turn our heads back to you, like they did with Drew McIntyre, people like that. So she might go and do that. Like, there's every possibility. The same with Tegan Nox as well. Tegan Nox is super talented, and when she's on form, when she's there, when she's got a story to work with, and she's just kicking ass in the ring, she's awesome. I love Tegan Nox, but it is one of those things where she's just not had the time, I think, to really build any connection with the main roster audience. I think she's had a few little things here or there. There was a whole Natalia stuff, I think.
She got kind of dumped into tag teams and like never got really a prolonged push or prolonged storyline to actually like show who she is on the main roster. She never really got that chance.
It's not really worth with anyone.
First WCPW Women's Champion though, so
there you go.
Big fan of Tegan Nox, or Nixon Newell, as she has immediately returned back to, obviously. I will say as well that Indy and Nixon Newell, now Tegan Nox, are both releases from WWE, so they will have 90-day no-competes, which will be up in February next year. So that's when we will likely see them taking bookings elsewhere. Yeah,
we'll just see where they end up. They may end up in AEW and do all that. Like, if Indy Hartwell, I'm not just going to say this before I know the facts, but I'm sure Indy Hartwell is Australian. Am I right in thinking?
New Zealand, I think.
New Zealand. Okay, there you go. So I nearly put my foot in my mouth there completely.
Tegan Nox is Welsh, so both of them are going to have to sort visa issues before they can do anything.
Oh.
If it's going to be in America.
Yeah, so
obviously their work visa will be attached to WWE. So
my thinking there was, if like you had like an Indy Hartwell potentially going to AEW around the time they do the Australia show, but they did. I don't know. She could still get a hero's welcome if she did go to New Zealand. Like, it's fairly close. So that was my train of thought there. But I don't know. It's never a good time to get released, obviously, and I do really feel for them both. But they'll land on their feet. They're both very talented. The industry is in a place now, especially with the independents, that where you can go out there and start hopefully making a name for yourself. There are options for you that like Impacts and AEWs as well. So it's never a good time, but they should be okay, hopefully. So keep my fingers crossed for them. Speaking of, I don't know how I'm going to seg into this. WWE's going to talk about some big rings. There you go. Some big rings that they're going to be giving to people because they're going to Crown Jewel. Crown Jewel is tonight to afternoon over here. Thank you very much. Yeah. It's afternoon. So they had the press conference kickoff thing that they do now for PLEs, and they had that yesterday. And Triple H was just having a chat with everyone, like just teasing them with WrestleMania and getting booed. And I think he was teasing NXT potentially going to Saudi Arabia at some point, a lot of that kind of stuff. And he also mentioned that these Crown Jewel belts that they've made a big song and dance about for weeks now, and been like, look at all these diamonds. Yeah, there you go. Everyone wants this
carrying
belt.
them around in a big suitcase with bodyguards for no apparent reason.
Yep, and I'm pretty sure the wrestlers have been like, I want to take this belt home. This is going to be my belt. I'm going to win it. Well, they're not. They're not going to be taking it home because Triple H just come out in this kickoff event and said that these belts are staying in Saudi Arabia. They are staying in the WWE Experience fan attraction thing. They're going to be there. So if you win it, you just get to go there. That thing in that exhibition, that's mine. But you don't walk away empty-handed, guys. No, it's fine. And girls as well, obviously, because we've got the two different matches. No. You get a big ring, apparently, if you win this. I don't think we've seen the ring. I couldn't find the ring online. Maybe the ring is out there. If the ring is there, just fire those rings at me on X. So this ring is going to be... They're trying to make it...
up there.
There you go. Sorry, I'm a child. So these rings are... apparently WWE's version of like a Super Bowl ring. Triple H just being like, oh, we're gonna, because this is happening every year, we want people to collect these rings and see how many rings that people can get. And you can, it's already feels like a Royal Rumble, doesn't it? You can just, people are gonna be growing up dreaming of having a Saudi Arabia crown jewel massive ring. So it's gonna be special. I think we've just seen the beginning of a new iconic tradition, Phil.
Yeah. Can't wait to see them on WWEshop.com.
Yeah.
It's more than Braun Strowman got when he won his big green belt, I guess.
Yeah.
And just kind of disappeared, and I don't know where that is. Like, lost somewhere, probably. The Crown Jewel belts are gross. I'm not sad that they're staying in Saudi Arabia. Yeah. They can have them. I don't want them.
Stay in that room, and we won't talk about you for another year. That's fine. You stay there.
Yeah. I assume they'll drop the ring thing quite quickly.
Maybe they'll do like an MJF, and it's just like if a heel gets it, it's the new thing. I don't know.
Let us know in the comments how much you want to see these rings on TV.
So much.
So much.
Yeah.
But, well, skipping over that story entirely, and speaking of wrestlers leaving wrestling, almost, Marko Stunt has announced his retirement from wrestling. He put up a big statement on Twitter, or X, or whatever you want to call it these days. Basically, saying about his decision, obviously not being an easy one, that wrestling's been such a massive part of his life. He was obviously on the smaller side of wrestlers, let's say. So got thrown about a lot. Because that was kind of his thing, the guy who gets beaten up by everyone and thrown, competition between wrestlers to see how far they can throw him, I guess. It seemed
the disrespect, Phil, for the little man.
The General Marko Stunt match. So he has been consulting with a doctor about his health, and he's been advised to prioritize long-term health. And so this is the reason for him stepping down from wrestling. He thanked AEW for giving him a chance and letting him live out his dreams. He thanks GCW for giving him his start and sort of putting him on the map. He thanks all the wrestlers that he's worked with. Thanks the fans, obviously. I put up a big statement. I'll put it on the screen so you can read the whole thing. But Marko Stunt is 28 now. He began in 2015, so he's had a pretty good run. He was an AEW original, obviously. Had that great fun run with the Jurassic Express. That was really good right at the beginning. He was released from AEW in 2022, and then has been wrestling on the independent scene since. So it's
He did come back. He did come back.
He did come back for a little bit.
Yeah, little match against Jack Perry, I believe, on Collision. I think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I always enjoyed Marko Stunt. He was different, totally different to anything else you could see on TV, especially in wrestling, like a modern era Spike Dudley kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed him. So it's sad to see him leave wrestling.
Yeah, I'm with you. I never thought the Spike Dudley thing, but you were so right. He really was. But it's just a shame, isn't it? Because I had a lot of fun, same as you, watching Marko Stunt, especially in those early days with Jurassic Express. That was a fun dynamic, that with Jungle Boy, Marko Stunt, and Luchasaurus. So that was great. And his legacy's there now. He'll always be remembered as that. That's not going anywhere. That his part in those early days of AEW. And it's one of those where you just, as long as his health is in a good condition now going forward, where you're just looking after that, and we've managed to stop just before something really bad maybe happened and there was irreparable damage. That is the most important thing. I know it's really sad that someone has to retire, but you've got to live. Do you know what I mean? Your quality of life has to be be of a good standard going forward, because live a long life, hopefully, fingers crossed. So yeah, sad, really sad, but I wish him all the best, and hopefully whatever he turns his attention to now going forward, he can excel in that as well. I've had to say that a lot in this video, which is a bit sad. Yeah, then hopefully I don't have to say it about Kenny Omega at any point soon, because Kenny Omega's obviously had a really, really bad year or so, obviously, with all of his diverticulitis stuff, and it was like life-threatening, and like he had to have surgery, and it's just been bad year for Omega. But the bright side of all this is now it is looking like he's very much getting close to coming back, which is what everyone wants to hear, because we love Kenny Omega.
Yep.
And this has been mentioned in the latest Observer, the Wrestling Observer newsletter, that it is looking like his comeback's like just more of a matter of when, not if now, which is awesome. Meltzer says in the Observer, Omega is talking about his comeback as if it's a thing rather than a possibility, so it should be relatively soon. The idea all along has been to set up a 5th match with Kazuchika Okada, although that is quite the standard those two have to live up to, and then he goes on mentioning like all the other matches that they've had, which are obviously ridiculous and like some of the best matches ever. So yeah, big old high standard that they have to live up to, really, if they do have that match again. It has been mentioned, I think it was earlier this week, that Omega will be appearing at New Japan Pro Wrestling's Power Struggle. That's on November 4th. And yeah, and on top of this, I think Ibushi mentioned that he thinks Omega's like a couple of months away from being back, like being fully recovered and ready to wrestle. I think he mentioned that maybe last month, I think it was. So yeah, it is looking good, looking better for Omega. Those Omega fans out there, it looks like he will be coming back relatively soon, so fingers crossed that is a thing. And I was struggling how to finish that sentence. I just love Omega so much, my brain melted.
Just want him back.
Just want him back.
Yeah, another one of those things where just make sure you're ready before you come back. Don't want to make anything worse, but it's like desperate to have Kenny Omega back on TV and sort of back on top. If he does that, and I'm intrigued by what this thing is at New Japan. It's just kind of an announcement as they're advertising it, not like a match or anything. So I'm intrigued as to what that's going to lead into. Yeah. But there've got to be something in tying this into, like, obviously the Young Bucks have left AEW for a bit, like we've gone home, but like John Moxley and his crew are running riot across AEW. So is like Kenny Omega going to be the one to like rally forces to kind of take on John Moxley's team? That'd be good. I just want to see Kenny Omega back in the main events. Like I don't want to see tag team Kenny Omega. I don't want to see mid-card Kenny Omega. I want goddamn main event Kenny Omega. I want the cleaner. I want full on. I want these big stupid entrances and incredible matches. I want those back.
That's the curse in a way of Kenny Omega. Like he can't come back and just be a mid-card act or a tag team act. Like people want the guy that they've fallen in love with, who's this incredible, just super wrestling machine, this charismatic force of nature, just to be there in the main events. But that does take a toll on your old body. Look at Bryan Danielson having to do it over the last year. People wanted him in the main events, so he was in those main events, and he got his body destroyed. And yeah, and it happened with MJF as well in his run as being the AEW World Champion. Like you put your body in these ridiculous matches against these super talented people that are super physical as well. The wear and tear does start catching up. So fingers crossed when he does come back, his body's better than it's ever been before. Fingers crossed, and he can just look after himself, because I love my cleaner, but I want him to be a healthy cleaner and look after himself.
This is very true. But let us know down in the comments below where you want to see Kenny Omega when he comes back. What matches do you want to see? What do you want him to do? Let us know down below, and you can follow us over on the old social medias. You can follow me at PhilMyChambers, and you can follow Gareth
at GMorgan04 on that X thing, and then at Gareth Morgram on Instagram, and then within the Instagram at fitness.focus.gm for loads of fitness stuff, and I can help you on your fitness journeys just by lifting weights and living a good life.
He's getting better at this. Look at him. Look at him go. And click the video on the screen to continue on your YouTube journey, and have yourselves a bloody good day.
Bye-bye.